It's lunchtime, everybody. What is going on? Lunch with Clydesdale, live every day, 12:15 Eastern time. Here we are. I'm going to throw a dart. I've been missing it a little bit for the last couple days. I might throw a couple because I'm tired of missing. So I'm gonna hone it in. Let's see what we got. Weak sauce to the right. Oh man, it's getting worse. I need to give it up. That just needs to be a Dave thing. I need to give it up. I used to be good at darts. I was a bouncer. I was a bartender. We played darts all the time. Yeah. I don't know. There it is. Jay Birch live from OKC and TFX. Sarah Cooper says, do we know if TFX is streaming anywhere? If not, I'll call Jay Birch. He'll take out his cell phone. He can get the live shot from the lane he's judging in, and we'll stream that. How about that? I have not heard about streaming. TFX does not stream ever. So yeah, why would you have Chase and Angelo commentating if there's no stream? They'd just be talking into air. So I'm assuming there's got to be some kind of stream somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. You got to hope you wouldn't waste getting. And I know Lauren Khalil is going to be doing it as well. So there's 3 people they've hired to do the announcing. I would hope that they have a stream to at least for us to hear them. Maybe it's a radio broadcast. Maybe that's something new and innovative we're going to try. Jay Birch says the camera in the lane might be frowned upon. Yeah. I would say so. We actually had a problem at my old affiliate during the open where the judges would pull out a camera and video or take pictures of the athlete they were judging because it was their friend or whatever, because it's in the affiliate. None of them are going to the games, but we actually had to have like a sit down and say, listen, if you want to take pictures and video, maybe don't judge when your friend's going. And because it's really hard to keep count while you're videoing or taking a picture. So yeah. There's supposed to be a stream from what I hear. There we go. Jay Birch has heard it. It makes sense. There has to be if they hired those 3 to do commentating. Why would you hire them if there's not going to be anything going on? Sarah says we can ask GWTP later today. Get with the programming. Sure. Chase would know, I'm assuming. And Corey's saying the same. They'd bet damn well better be streaming. They got Chase and Angelo. So, yeah, I hope so. I'd like to know what's going on there. I got a lot. I'm going to circle back around to that for a second. But first thing I want to let you guys know is I'm going to have Justin Cotler on tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern time to talk about what it was like for the coaches at the World Fitness Project, plus his plans with Alex and Mano Anganese and what their plans are going forward. So we're going to have Justin on tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern time, to see what that was all about. I did watch the Training Think Tank review of the WFP as well. And I thought they brought up some really good insights and some good suggestions. So I might use some of what they were saying to talk to Justin. I don't even have show notes for tonight. And I have some appointments this afternoon. So it may just be a conversation. We'll see where it goes. And if people are in the chat, we'll let them ask questions as well of Justin as to how it goes. But Alex won. His athlete won the first WFP. Mano Anganese is still trying to qualify. Alex is still trying to qualify for the CrossFit Games. Alex is putting all of her eggs in the NorCal basket. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the course of the next few weeks for them. Yes, those usually turn out to be the best interviews. I pretty regular, like I can probably on one hand have the number of interviews I've done without show notes. And really, I just have them just in case. My plan going into an interview is just to have a conversation. And then I have the show notes just in case there's a lull in the conversation and I've got to go look for something else to talk about. But generally, my best interviews are when I never, ever have to look at them. And we just kind of chat about what's going on. So again, tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern time, Justin Cotler, Underdog Athletics. We will chat with him a little bit. So I've got a couple things I want to talk about a little bit, and I think I'll do it this way. TFX is this weekend. We've got some people hunting for their tickets to the CrossFit Games. But this is what I kind of want to ask. This is where I lean a little bit to the WFP and some comparison stuff, is because of the way that the season structure is built in CrossFit. I don't feel like we're getting the best athletes to the games this year. Now you can go to Mayhem and you can see Austin and Colton and Abby and Fee. And those are games caliber athletes for sure. But you go to like the French Throwdown, you go to Wadland Fest, you go to Brazil, Copa Sur. I'm not sure we're getting the best to the games. And I think it's the way the season is structured that we have all these multiple ways of people kind of getting into the CrossFit Games. And I just don't think it's turning out to be a system that's working. When you cut the field down to 30 people, you need the best 30 people at the games. You need people who can impact the leaderboard from all 30 positions to make it a good competition, to make it fun to watch, to make it interesting. And I just don't think that's happening. I love Bronislaw Olinkowicz. I think he's a really cool dude. I think he's super strong, but you can't tell me he's one of the best 30 men in the world. And he won the French Throwdown. So I just think it's muddying the waters a little bit, the way the season is structured, because you have you can get in by A, you can get in by B, and we'll talk about that. You can even get in by C now. So I don't, and it's part of the reason that I think that the WFP actually has a chance, because CrossFit keeps messing around with all these ways to qualify and making it more and more complicated and convoluted. And now at the end of the day, I don't think we're getting the best 30 athletes to the games. And so if we're not getting the best 30 athletes to the games, then there's something wrong with the design of the system in qualifying. And yeah, I mean, and then you have things like Guy is going to Torian for what? He's not, he can't qualify for the games. He chose not to do the CrossFit Games season, yet he's going to go to Torian and mess up the leaderboard with a couple good heavy lifts, a couple good events, and jack up the leaderboard at Torian for what? For what? I don't understand. Elisa Foliano podiums at both the European events, would have qualified for the games out of both of them, but because she's not doing the season, she just mucked up the leaderboard so that the people who are trying to qualify can't do that. It just, I don't know. This whole thing of like allowing these third party entities to make up their own rules and keep them regional and all that stuff is just preventing the best people from making it to the games. I think those events, Andrew Stan, I think those events are getting the best athletes from those regions. Unfortunately, those athletes are not the same level as athletes from the US, Europe, Australia, for whatever reason. I also think like the European semifinals have been very biased to heavy lifting. And that's why Bronislaw Alinkowicz is going to the CrossFit Games. Andrew follows up. I left a comment for Dave on his week in review about constantly changing qualification process. His answer was not satisfying. Yeah, I watched that, Andrew, and his answer was something to the effect of, well, the reason we change it is to make it better. And I don't think this year is better in any way. Now, is it better fiscally and financially because you have given up control over everything in the qualification process? That may be better, the financial fiscal bottom line, but I don't think we're going to get the best athletes to the games. And in a year where there's other competition, this is the year where people need to CrossFit needs to compete. They need to put their best foot forward to show they are the dominant entity in the sport. Doesn't matter if Guy doesn't go. He chose not to for financial reasons, but now he is making it to Torian somehow. I know. Did some of the top athletes choose not to do the season? Maybe that's why. There's a handful of people who chose not to do the season, but I don't think that's why we're not getting the best. The names out of Brazil, I can't even tell you what the names are. Like they're not even the typical people that other than Kalen Souza, who qualified on the men's side. I couldn't even name the other three at all. It's not even the typical people that are the best from that region. It's just a weird, wacky process this year that I just don't think is working at all. I thought Guy wanted to compete in Brazil. Wasn't that the whole post of his about being at home? And he didn't compete at Brazil. So he competed at Mayhem, and he's competing at Torian. But I don't know. Those events should have a separate leaderboard for the money and the games qualification. One for the money, one for the games qualification, I think is what Andrew's saying. I don't disagree with that, but man, talk about complicated. Now we're really getting complicated in the way the season looks. From what I heard, Ricky and Jay are also doing Torian. Because they're allowed, like I get it. That's their home country. They can compete in front of their home fans. I still don't like it since they already have a spot to the games, they don't need to qualify. But I'm sure they're going to be allowed because they're going to be a draw. I just wish the season would make more sense. Corey says, who are the people you think should be going that aren't? I don't know yet. I don't know what the field is, but I'm telling you, if spots are being taken up by three people out of South America that I don't know their names, and someone like Braun, who is 37 years old and who hasn't been able to make the games for years, we're not sending the right people. So those spots are being taken up by people that are qualifying when there are other people that should be able to qualify instead. Andrew says, no, you exclude the people who can't qualify for the games from the one leaderboard. That way their scores don't affect the athletes who are eligible. I understand what you're saying completely. It's just you have two leaderboards and you have to explain it. That's all. It adds a complication. I mean, I just miss the days of a clean. These are the people going for their shot at the games, and either they qualify or they don't. The top X number do. Now we don't have that anymore. We have, well, this person didn't finish top 1%, or this person didn't even sign up for the open, or this person chose not to do the season. And these are and then whatever's left, they're down here mixed in. Yeah, it's a mess. The other topic I wanted to throw out to you guys today is all week I've heard people comparing WFP to the CrossFit Games, which I think is completely unfair. The WFP Tour Stop 1 was the first step of their season. And the way their season is structured, you don't know the story of the season until it plays out. So people were like, I didn't see the emotion. I didn't see the blah that I see when people qualify for the CrossFit Games. Well, no, because the qualification for the championships hasn't even happened yet with the WFP. They're building that storyline up with a system of points that then will qualify people for the championships of the WFP. Now, do I think in year one, the WFP is going to hold a candle to what the CrossFit Games means to athletes? No, but it's year one. It's year one. We have to see it play out. We have to see what the points leaderboard looks like in the future, and and even through a full season this year. If they add more events, it's going to make it even more crucial about the points race throughout the season. And you're going to see storylines play out that you don't see in this weird, convoluted CrossFit Games season. And I'm not putting my money behind either horse. I just think that we have to let them have their opportunity to show the entire thing and how it's going to play out and how the storylines are going to play out before we start making final decisions as to this one is way better than this one. There's no way that an entity coming in year one is going to hold the prestige and the honor that the CrossFit Games have established over 15 years or 20 years now. We need to see what happens through a couple seasons of the WFP and see if that actually becomes something a little bit more fun to watch and makes it easier to understand, and that people are excited about playing in the championship. Like the FedEx Cup in golf didn't happen until a handful of years ago. And now it is like the biggest thing. You're trying to earn your points to qualify for the FedEx Cup so you can play for the championship of championships. And that's I think what World Fitness Project is trying to accomplish. But you can't see that until it's played out over a couple of events. Halpin says this is a sanctional model. There were athletes competing and winning competitions from 2019 and 20 that had no way of going to the games. I agree with you. I did not like the only difference about the sanctional model and this is that the sanctional model qualified more athletes to the games so they could be weeded out through cuts. So you had the better athletes at the end of the weekend. I.e. Roman qualifying year over year after, with no shot at a visa. I get it. Okay, but by that same logic, those dudes at the French Throwdown had every opportunity to beat Braun, and they didn't. He won 78 years old or not. My issue with the French Throwdown is they restricted who could sign up for the event. It had to have X number of French athletes. It had to have X number of European athletes. And so when the field is taken up with all of that, it's hard to get people who may be better athletes. The better athletes could not jump into that lineup to do that. Plus, it was the same weekend as WFP, and that was a competition. But Brazil was not, and Brazil was restricted just to Central and South American countries. D. Reed says, Corey, don't hate on the old guys. It was me. It was me, Doug. I'm the one who hated on the old guys first. He's just jumping on my bandwagon. Andrew Sten, my biggest worry with the WFP is they are trying to be too big, too quick, and they flame out. They need to build and not just expect people to show up because the people that are there. I don't think that I would hope that they don't think that that is the case. I think they're just trying to show what is possible, and they're trying to do things in a way that are different and better, and in their eyes. And maybe some of the stuff that we saw this weekend was just a trial, and maybe we're not going to see it at Tour Stop 2. I don't know, but to me, if you don't have storytelling with what's going on, you're not going to get people showing up. So people are going to have to start understanding the point system and what stories those are telling for people to show up and to spectate those events. T-Bird, it is media, not you, and people comparing the two, not CrossFit or WFP. It doesn't have to be one or the other. I'm just happy to see more competitions and know the difference between the games and the WFP. Where I disagree with you a little bit, T-Bird, is that I want it to be a competition. I want it to be between the two of them. I want them to get better because they have to compete against each other, and things get better. When CrossFit has had no competition, they have not made changes that make sense to make a better product that goes out on the floor. I'm hopeful that with these two competing, that it will force both of them to put their best foot forward to make the best product that they can out on the floor. That's what I want. And either the strongest survives or they combine and decide to do something together. Andrew Sten says they did such a bad job with the community event there. This was a bad look for them. Again, it was their first attempt. But I do agree, hiding them in the back corner probably isn't the best way to go about things. Halpin, I don't think they had the expectation that people were going to show up. They were excited. They sold a few hundred tickets 2 days before the comp started. Yeah, to try to guess what their expectations are is unfair to them. We don't know their budget. We don't know the money source. We don't know what their expectations are. We need to see it play out. And that's all I'm saying is let it play out before you start making comparisons. But to compare like Tour Stop 1 to the CrossFit Games isn't even comparing apples to apples. Denise Moore, I almost want to travel to Arizona to watch it in person. I am with you. I'm actually thinking about trying to get out to Mesa for that one, but it's right around the same time as the age group CrossFit Games, and I'm not going to give up the age group CrossFit Games for that. So there you go. T-Bird, did anyone see TEF review of WFP? I think Sean was way off on some things. Seems to have changed his tune on CrossFit all of a sudden. Yeah, helping first attempt, and not to compare, but what did age groups coverage look like at the games in 2023? Pathetic. Last year, the age group did great. He also says that Denise, it's amazing in person. James, criticisms of WFP after a single event are wild. CrossFit has been putting on the games for nearly 20 years and have constant issues that should have been worked out by now. Let's give WFP some time. Amen, brother. I've been saying that all week. For years, I have been critical of what the games has done, and that they need to improve, and they've done nothing to do that. And now they need someone to compete against them to push them in the right direction. And either they're going to change or they're going to die off. That's just the way the things work in this world. Blockbuster Netflix. Blockbuster refused to change with the times. So instead of comparing to other sports, I'll do that. I'll compare it to a business situation. The WFP deserves every ounce of criticism. The way they went about things pissed off CrossFit supporters. Well, I don't understand why you have to pick one side or the other. I don't get it. Like, they can learn from one another, and they can get better, and maybe one outlasts the other. But I've said on the show thousands of times, CrossFit saved my life. Without it, I'd be dead today. If you don't know my story, I started at 500 pounds in 2011. I am way under 500 pounds now, and I'm still alive. And I owe CrossFit all of that. But when it comes to the sport, CrossFit has been screwing the pooch for years. They don't have a system that is easy to explain to my friends or to show people or to make a viewable attempt at things. They don't change year after year, and they need competition to push them in a more creative and better situation. Maybe people mean because WFP stole some athletes from the CrossFit Game season. Laura and Emma Tall, I think those are the only athletes that chose just to do the WFP season. Oh, Pat Vellner. I don't know. Nothing gets better if it's not looked at critically. There's nothing wrong with critiquing an event. I agree. We've been critical of CrossFit, and it seems like WFP came around and we forgot about all the criticisms we've been saying about CrossFit. And now we're just saying they're always the best, and they are. Like, did we not forget 18 months ago we were bitching about the seasons that CrossFit was putting together? That's what's boggling my mind. Sarah Cooper, I don't think Elisa Fuliano would have done, or she's not doing WFP. Like, she's not doing any of them. Emily dropped out because she's hurt. She hurt her back, and it's either rest it or she's not going to have a shot at anything. And she's going to try to do NorCal to qualify for the CrossFit Games, but she needs to rest it for a few weeks to be able to do so. Alex is risking it, but I know that and maybe I'll get this out of Justin tonight, I know she was fighting with a shoulder injury earlier in the season. She won this weekend, and maybe her shoulder isn't up to being able to take back-to-back weeks, and that's why they had to go with NorCal and the WFP. But so I don't think she's picked anything yet. So I don't know. Meredith, yeah, I don't know for the overt negativity or refusing to even mention the name WFP seems immature. Uh, and we can't control what people assume or perceive. Yeah. I, in all honesty, I want CrossFit to get better. I I have followed this sport. I've been a volunteer in the sport since 2013. I've been to regionals and sanctionals and all of the stuff up to through the games for years and years and years. I don't want to stop doing that, but they're not changing and they're not getting better. We need something to push them. So, Doug, I care about both. I don't think the methodology is going anywhere. Um, it's it's the greatest way of fitnessing, in my opinion, that's out there, and I don't think it's going anywhere. But when we're talking about the sport, I know a lot of people say word salad. I don't think that. I think word salad is the new way of speaking for people in this day and age. I work for state government. I hear directors and senators and congressmen and governors. It's all word salad, man. Every single day of my life is word salad. It's just the way the world is working now. And I don't think that the public persona of Will and Jackson are maybe the best faces of what WFP are. I don't think they have a lot of experience in front of a camera or on a live show doing interviews. And so I think they get nervous and confused at times. Uh, just my opinion. So yes, Halpin Hiller showed up at WFP on Sunday at some point. I didn't know the day. I guess it was Sunday. But he actually said in person it was really well done. His only thing is it had to have cost a lot of money with what they had done and doesn't see that it can be sustainable at that level. And he may be right. I don't know the money they're working with, and I don't pretend to know. I would just assume if you're putting this forward, you're not doing it to lose money year over year, and you're trying to find a way to make money. So um, you got to trust that they have a plan. So yeah, Corey, and that's a number that gets thrown around, but I don't know that for a fact. I have no idea if that's true or not. And if I'm a private company and I'm doing something, the last thing I'm showing the public is my books. So Sarah says exactly. Corey Saxon didn't seem to give straight answers. I think he has a tougher job than the other two. I think what they're doing with the affiliate model, their affiliate model and their community outreach is much more uh I don't know, much more across the line shady than what the sport is doing. I'm just talking about the sport. I don't know what's going on with this community piece that they're doing in affiliates, and I don't know enough to talk educated enough about it to make any sense. Potential buyers sell the book. I'm talking about WFP. WFP is not up for sale. So nobody has seen those books. Nobody really knows what's going on there. And if I'm the WFP, I'm not showing it to anybody. Nobody needs to know what my financials are. I'm just putting forward this sport, this thing, and it's up to me to budget it and make sure that the money lasts. T-Bird asks, aren't they like High Rocks? You can still be CrossFit, High Rocks, etc., and a WFP affiliate. You don't have to choose. I wish there was a straight answer to this question because I believe Saxon was asked this outright, and I believe he said you could. It didn't seem like a complete answer. Back to what Sarah and Corey are saying earlier in the chat. And again, I am for supporting the sport. I don't know what the affiliate piece means for them. So, last thing I want to talk about, and then I have to get going because I have some appointments this afternoon, and that is Last Chance Qualifier was announced. We finally have the details of the Last Chance Qualifier. They're happening June 12th to the 16th. Final opportunity to get a spot at the CrossFit Games. Who's in the top 50 non-games qualifying athletes from the in-affiliate semifinals and the top 10 non-games qualifying athletes from each in-person qualifier. That is a lot of people. Exact leaderboard positions may vary depending on previous qualifications. All athletes must have placed in the top 1% of the 2025 Open. To be eligible athletes will receive an official email invitation from Hustle Up. No second chances, no excuses, earn your place. What I don't understand with this is we've already had an Open, we've already had an in-affiliate semifinal, and now we're having a third online competition to get the last one person into the games. Like just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. They've already competed against each other 2 times, and now we're going to ask them to compete against each other for a 3rd time. That makes absolutely no freaking sense. And these are the things that I'm telling you that we have bitched about for years and seem to forget about now that WFP's around and we want to be full on support of CrossFit. They've got to start doing better. They've got to start doing better. This is absolutely absurd. And yes, it's about the money. You got to sign up. You got to pay your fee for one up. That's going to be like 100 and some athletes, and they're going to have one open spot to compete for. It's absurd. And speaking of no community coverage, it's the same week as the Community Cup, which is also in affiliates. They just overshadowed their own community event. There it is. That's what I'm saying, people. If WFP didn't exist, we would be bitching about the way this season looks that CrossFit has put forward. Now WFP's here, and all of a sudden we're going to defend the gates. How about look in the mirror and get better? I want CrossFit to get better. I'm not saying I want WFP to take over the world or anything like that. I want CrossFit to get better. I want both to be good. On that note, time to get back to work, you knuckleheads. We'll see everybody next time. Well, join me tonight, Justin Cotler, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the show talking about the WFP, Alex Kazan, Mano Anganese, and then I'll be back tomorrow with another lunch show. With that, guys, we will see everybody next time on Lunch with the Clydesdale.